AB 1500 closes the elective single sales factor formula loophole and thereby levels the playing field for California businesses, bringing in $1 billion back to the California economy, and it would serve to fund the Middle Class Scholarship Act. This measure is part of a two-bill Middle Class Scholarship Act. The companion legislation, AB 1501, which creates the actual scholarship, was heard and approved unanimously by the Assembly Higher Education Committee last week. Under the Middle Class Scholarship, the first $150 million would be, from closing the loophole, would be allocated towards community college system to provide assistance for college affordability, including expenses like paying for textbooks. We then use the remaining money to provide a scholarship that covers 2/3 of the fees for students at CSU and UC whose families earn less than $150,000 a year. By closing the elective single sales factor loophole, AB 1500 not only restores opportunity for California's middle-class families, it restores a level playing field for California businesses. As your analysis succinctly puts it, an elective single sales factor formula is a tax expenditure that contains no requirement to invest or create jobs in the state. No accountability measures, no paper trail for the state to review, and no records about the outcomes at any specific company or industry. The Nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office has called for elimination of the elective single sales factor loophole, saying it would put California into conformity with other large states that keep California firms from being able to put a competitive disadvantage. Or as George Skelton described it, as only he can. You might think a tax law that rewards companies for killing California jobs and resurrecting them in another state would be dumped very quickly. It's bad for California jobs to allow out-of-state companies to choose a tax formula that reduces their taxes whenever they lay off a California worker or close a California factory, even though they're retaining or increasing their same level of sales in this state. And it's bad for California businesses when their out-of-state competitors have the benefit of a loophole that gives them an unfair advantage. Closing the elective single sales factor loophole would put California in line with tax policies of a mix of 15 red and blue states, including Michigan, Texas, New Jersey, New York, South Carolina, Georgia, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Oregon, Minnesota, and Maine. In fact, only 3 other states allow out-of-state corporations to choose which tax formula they prefer. As is pointed out in the analysis, the opposition's theory behind the economic benefits of an elective single sales factor formula were correct. If they were correct, then states like Missouri should perform exceptionally well. But that hasn't been the case, even though Missouri has had an elective single sales factor in place for decades. We spent a lot of time on the elective single sales factor issue last year, including 5.5-month debate as part of the governor's proposed budget solutions. And late last summer, the Assembly successfully passed with a 2/3 vote a revenue-neutral bill that closed the loophole and instead provided modest tax relief for Californians. AB 1500 continues the effort by helping California businesses compete and does so again in a revenue-neutral manner by using the revenues generated by closing the loophole to cut college fees. In addition to paying for a more level playing field, our business community will benefit in other ways from the Middle Class Scholarship Act. The industries of the 21st century, fields like biotech and green manufacturing, require an exceptional, well-educated workforce. The fact that companies like Google and Genentech are headquartered in California is a direct result of the Master Plan of Higher Education, which expanded the opportunity to get a college degree to every Californian. That has generated enormous benefits to our state and billions, if not trillions, of dollars to the economy over the last 50 years. So in short, AB 1500 does 3 key things. 1, it closes a loophole that harms California jobs and businesses. 2, it brings $1 billion from outside of California back into the California economy. And 3, it funds the middle class scholarship to make higher education affordable again to our middle class families.